First thing we need to talk about is how we calculate the pH. Now, calculating the pH of the substance comes to two different things. So first off, the thing we're going to be using the most is the H plus concentration and the OH minus concentration to calculate pH. The H plus concentration is simply the molarity of a strong acid. So if we want to know the H plus concentration of 3 molar HCl, it is simply 3 molar, or 3 is the concentration. The OH minus concentration, is the molarity of a strong base. The molarity of a strong base. And we're going to talk about some examples of what are strong bases and what are strong acids, but mainly how you identify a strong acid is it has an H on the beginning, like HCl, HBr, H2SO4. So those are some strong acids. Some strong bases usually have OHs on the end, like NaOH, MgOH2, and some things like that. So those are strong bases. Those are some simple ways to identify it. H at the beginning is an acid, OH at the end is typically a strong base. And we will discuss that more in detail later. But for now, how we know the concentration of a strong acid, or the H plus concentration, is simply the concentration of whatever that acid is. The concentration of an OH, or the OH minus concentration, is simply the concentration of whatever that strong base is. So whatever the molarity is, that is the concentration. So let's go back here to calculating pH. To calculate the pH, there are a few different things. First off, if we have the H plus concentration, all we're going to do to calculate the pH is we're going to do the negative log. The negative log of the H plus concentration. So let's say we have 3 molar HCl and we want to calculate the pH. We would just do this. We'd hit negative on our calculator, log, oops, need a zero, O in there, negative log, and then 3. And that would give us probably a pH of, it would be a pretty small pH. It would be somewhere, it would be right around 0. So that would be a really small pH. Something more common would be something like 0.01 molar HCl. Trying to calculate the pH of that. That one would be a pH of, you would do the negative log of 0.01, and I believe that would make our answer 2. So the pH would be 2 on that. So simple as that. For calculating the pH of an acid, we just do the negative log of the H plus, or the negative log of the concentration of the acid, and we have the pH. Now, if we want to calculate the pH of a strong base, we'd have to do it a little differently, because we won't know the H plus concentration right away. There's some other ways to calculate the pH of a base. Okay, calculating the pH of a base, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the negative log. But a base, we're only going to know the OH minus concentration, so we do the negative log of the OH minus concentration, but that's going to be equal to the pOH. That is not the pH. So that'll give us the pOH, and we want the pH, so what we'd just do is we'd do 14 minus the pOH after that to give us the pH. So, an example of this. So, negative log of the OH minus concentration, or the concentration of a base, gives us the pOH. Then we do 14 minus the pOH to get the pH. So let's say we have a base, some sodium hydroxide, and it is 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide. What we do is we do the negative log of 0.1, which is going to be our pOH, right? We're going to get, when we do the negative log of 0.1, I believe we're going to get a pH of, or we're going to get a pOH of 1. And then we're going to do 14 minus that. 14 minus 1 will equal our pH, which is going to be 13. So negative log of 0.1 equals 1, but that's our pOH, because it was the negative log of the OH minus, not the negative log of the H plus. So the negative log of 0.1 is our pOH, and then we convert that pOH, we convert this pOH right here, into our pH by doing 14 minus that. So our pOH was that 1 right there. We did 14 minus the pOH, and it got us our pH. So to find the pH of a base, we do the negative log, and then we do 14 minus the answer we get there. So the negative log was 1 of 0.1 was 1. 14 minus it, we got 13. Now let's suppose we know the pH and we want to know what the H plus concentration is. So to find the H plus concentration given the pH, what we're going to do is simply 10 to the negative pH equals the H plus concentration. So 10 to the negative, sorry, that's supposed to be negative, 10 to the negative pH. So let's say that the pH was 3, so 10 to the negative 3 would be our H plus concentration. Or let's say the pH was 3.5 or 2.5, we'd say 10 to the negative 2.5, punch that in our calculator, and it would give us the H plus concentration. If we want the OH minus concentration, we just do 10 to the negative POH. 10 to the negative POH equals our OH minus concentration. And right here is a summary of all the things I just talked about. Moles equals molarity times liters, by the way. That's kind of a review, and 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. But if you look right here, here's how we calculate pH, just the negative log of the H plus. Here's how we calculate POH, it's the negative log of the OH minus. Remember, the H plus is the concentration of the acid, the OH minus is the concentration of the strong base. Now if we want to calculate pH given the OH minus, you see we have the OH minus right here. If we want to calculate pH given the OH minus, we'd have to do 14 plus the log of the OH minus. If we want to calculate POH, it's just 14 minus the pH, so if we're changing pH into POH. If we want to calculate H plus, 10 to the negative pH. If you want to calculate OH minus, it's 10 to the negative POH. So H plus is the molarity of a strong monoprotic acid. Monoprotic means it only has one hydrogen. And for titrations, we'll talk about that a little later. But I think that's about all for this video. You may want to refer back to this specific screen to do some calculations, and I'll try to include this as a file on the page as well. But this is kind of your formula sheet for calculating pH and calculating OH minus and H plus and POH, all those different things, and how you can relate between them. One last thing of note is when you're calculating pH or POH using the log, if you use a regular calculator, you just hit the log button and then the number. So let's say it's a concentration of 0.1, you'd put negative log 0.1. Now if you're using your phone calculator, it might be slightly different. You might have to put the number first and then hit log, and you'll have to test that to see which one works better.